Hey everybody, this is Captain Frugal reporting for duty, giving you my weekly comic book review. So sit back and enjoy. Alright everybody, for those of you that know the drill, I go over a bunch of comic books for the week that I chose to read. Now I didn't have time to read everything, so if I missed something you think I should have read, let me know in the comments below. Also, you may disagree with me on some of my choices. If that's the case, that's alright. Let me know below. Let's just try to keep it civil. My goal is to bring back the old schoolyard days, where we would be in discussing what hero could beat who or what comic book was good and not. And I come armed with my trusty notes, so you'll hear the paper rattle because I do it a little bit old school. I do my grading on a scale of 0 through 10, 7 being average as a 70%. So I'm using schoolyard grading. But that's not all. I also use the League of Comics Geeks to give you other people's views as well as a brief overview of the comic book as well. So let's jump right in. Well, welcome everybody for another weekly comic book review. I just want to take a moment too before we get too far involved to say thank you to everybody that's been watching the channel, the different kind of videos I put out. I haven't done one of these in a while. I put out a morning warm-up guitar video. For those of you thinking, well, that's not the best guitar playing I've ever heard, that's the whole point. It's a warm-up. When we see people do things online, they're usually highly edited until it's perfect, and sometimes I think that's off-putting. So sometimes doing videos like this that aren't really scripted, that just have notes, or a video like that showing that, hey, we're human, we make mistakes, is a good thing and gives other people some hope and things in that regard. So with that said, let's jump right into The Flash issue number 12. 99 out of 111 liked it, with a 4 average rating on League of Comics Geeks. I gave the book a 7. Yep, just a 7. The Flash title has been, since they switched teams, just hasn't lived up to what it was before, but I can't say it was terrible. The writer is Simon Spurrier, the artist is Raymond Perez. There is some cool alternate cover versions of this book that I think are better than the traditional one. We have Showdown in the Speed Force. The Archangels have gathered their forces and are ready to bring, they're ready to bring forth the new age they seek. But the Flash family is gathered for a final showdown. The final showdown. Yeah, I think of the final countdown was popping in my head there. While still dealing with public unrest and Waller's forces. Yep, we still got a little bit of a tie-in with that, with the whole issue of tie-in with DC Absolute Power. Will it be enough? Well, you need to read to find out. It's an okay issue. Decent art. Though I will say the story continues to be too much of a convoluted mess. This writer, I think, is trying to get too deep with this, and the book is a bit boring, to be honest. I am really looking forward to this story ending and moving on. Maybe a little bit something more faster paced and a little more fun. Puns are intended there, just for the record. The next one I want to take a shot at, pun intended again, is Green Arrow number 15. 133 out of 148 liked it with a 3.7 average rating on League of Comics Geeks, and I gave the book a 7.4. Writer's Joshua Williamson, artist is MK, dude, sorry, I just butchered that. I'm not even going to try to go on with that name. Anyway, this says it's the road to absolute power. Yes, if you haven't been familiarized with the Absolute Power storyline that this one ties into directly, it seems like our buddy Green Arrow has joined forces with Amanda Waller. But did he really? Let's be honest, we know that's not the case, right? In this issue, we have Arsenal, Connor Hawk, Red Canary, Red Arrow, and Arrowette in a battle above the skies. Yeah, they're on a plane fighting it out. So you know it's a comic book, because in reality, that would not happen. They can't let Waller's task force agents get Professor Ivo. No, they can't. So can they take their stand and get him back? Well, you're gonna have to read this issue to find out. Not a bad issue. It's another Absolute Power tie-in. It's got good art, and it's got a good cast of characters. Good action in this issue. And Green Arrow fans, I believe, will continue to enjoy this title. The next issue I want to talk about is sort of a missed opportunity, in my opinion. That's Zatanna Bring Down the House number 3. 158, though, out of 176 liked it with a 4 average rating on League of Comics Geeks, making me maybe in the minority on this one, because I thought this book got about a 7 and that's it. Yep. The writer is Marcio Tamiki and the artist is Xavier Rodriguez. Anyway, it's Zatanna versus bunnies. Yeah, this is a whole different take on the character. About her accepting powers. It's just, I don't know. I don't get it. I would like to know if you enjoyed it. I think this cover too is a really lost opportunity. This is a crappy cover. Some of the alternative covers are much better. I think DC is missing a great opportunity with this character. It isn't used a lot, but is a fan favorite. People really like her, and the art style is just a miss too. I don't think the art style is the right choice for this book either. It's a decent story at best, and the story progression, in my opinion, is a little bit slow. But that's me. I want to know your opinion on this one, because it seems like League of Comics Geeks doesn't really agree with me, I don't agree with them on my take on this book. And so, maybe I am off the mark. Only one way to tell. So I'd like to know your thoughts. Let me know what you think of this one. Hey guys, today's video is sponsored by My Wallet. Yeah, I'm not trying to push any kind of wallet or pimp any wallet out. What I mean is it's sponsored by my personal wallet and the cash that comes out of it to pay for these things. If you want to help with this, you can hit like, subscribe, that notification bell. Those are great ways to get started. But if you find yourself in a position where you can help the channel more, we have a Patreon and a subscribe star down below that you can click on those links. And for as little as $1 a month, you'll have special videos and things to just you, music that you can get. Or maybe if you wanted to, a one-time donation just to help out, we have a Streamlabs link down below. Or we also have, if you go to the Patreon shop, you could buy a song for like $3. I wish I could put them a little lower, but that's the minimum they allow for that. So there's lots of options. Sometimes you might even see an Amazon link. If you want to buy anything through Amazon, click on my link first, then go through there. That'll give me a couple pennies, possibly that way too as well. So there's lots of ways you can help out the channel, because without you, it would not be possible. So thank you, everybody. And let's get back to the video. The next one I read was Absolute Power Task Force 7, issue number 5. 126 out of 135 liked it, with a 3.9 average rating on League of Comics Geeks, and I gave the book a 7.3. Yeah, so not too far off. Anyway, the writer is Alex Paganendel, artist is Pete Woods. And is Barry Allen fast enough to escape velocity? No, he's not. He says he's not fast enough. Barry Allen is the lone speedster around still that has his powers, staying barely a step ahead of the Flash-themed Amazo Velocity. Now powered by the speed of the rest of the Flash family. Yeah, he's loaded up with all his powers and trying to get Barry, so let's be honest, if he's not even the fastest Flash, how can he outrun this guy, right? Well, Barry must keep moving forward to avoid capture. He's also working as a one-man communications network for the remaining free heroes. Can Barry continue to aid the Resistance, or has his time ran out? Well, that's the whole question of this issue. Can Barry escape? Waller gets a new group of enforcers as well, so she's still continuing to power up and level up, if you will. There's decent art and story progression in this issue. If you're a fan of Flash, you'd probably like this. Matter of fact, I think this was a better Flash read than most of the Flash issues we've had for the last couple months under this new team. Not saying this new team is terrible. I'm just saying I don't like the team as much. They tend to not write as well. Though I will say the previous team on the book they set the bar pretty high. And this one I just think is a little bit slower. So not a bad book overall. If you're in reading the Absolute Power thing, you'd probably want to get Task Force 7. But if you're not reading and really into the series, then this tie-in really series is probably not for you. Speaking of ones that fit that, what I was just saying, Absolute Power Origins number 2. 80 out of 100 liked it with a 3.3 average rating. Writers John Ridley, penciler Aletha Martinez. Says the Suicide Squad rises, Amanda Waller has suffered immeasurable loss and the loss of her humanity along with it. I gave this book a 7.3. I thought it had an interesting development for this character, Amanda Waller. And I think that's something maybe we need a little bit more to understand why this is going on, why she's doing it. Though I think they've built it up over the last few years, actually. But this is pretty good and gives you your first Suicide Squad before they were called the Suicide Squad. And I thought it was decent art. So, as I said earlier, if you are reading the whole Absolute Power thing, yeah, go ahead and get this. But if you're not, well, to be honest, this is probably a series that you can go ahead and skip. You won't really miss much in that case. Now, switching gears and jumping over to Marvel, I read Captain America issue number 12. 69 out of 74 liked it with a 4.1 average rating, and I gave this book a flat 7. Writers J. Michael Straczynski Straczynski. There we go. Artist is Jesus Sayas. And boy, I gotta tell you right off the bat, looking at the cover of this issue, not impressed. Right? The standard cover anyway. There is one really good alternate cover that you can get, but this cover, I can't picture it making the book fly off the shelves. Anyway, death has come to Earth and it intends to take humanity off the playing field. Captain America has assembled the change agents who can save everyone. But is it too late? Only time will tell. Well, I will have to say that. Okay, the very first page of this is sort of funny because they're in Chicago and they're talking about they need to get out of there to go get to the cabaret to be safe. Out of all places to stop, Chicago is not the place to be safe, right? Anybody knows the metrics and stuff. Chicago is not a safe place to be. Sorry, people that are in Chicago. I know Chicago pretty well. I used to tour there a lot and play a lot of shows there with different musical groups. And even back then, it was, especially at night, it was pretty shady. But nowadays it's gotten a lot worse. So, sorry people in Chicago. I'm not trying to dog on Chicago, which is a shame because I always loved Chicago. It's good art in this issue, though, for the interior art, but very slow story progression. And I don't know. I think Cap is better suited for espionage and military kind of stories than these mystical ones. I understand something like this is okay once in a while because the character does, he fights above his level. But I just don't think this is it. It's missing it a little bit for me. That's why I gave it a 7. I really had high hopes for this. You're gonna hear my notes here. I had really high hopes for this, and it just couldn't quite live up to it. And speaking of living up to things, this next one, I believe it or not, it's a happy change of pace. And that's the Amazing Spider-Man issue number 56. 119 out of 141 liked it with a 3.7 average rating on Leo Comics Geeks, and I gave this book a 7.3. And I'm going to give a little bit more detail why. The writer is Zeb Wells, artist is Lee Gatlin, as well another writer is Lee Gatlin, and the artist is Andres Gianotti, because there's a side story in this. That's why I think there's 2 writers here, if I recall. And here's the thing. We have Tombstone returning in this. The newest kingpin of crime will show his power to the other gangs of New York. Remember, he sort of, took over everything. And I will say the main story is much better than the last pile of trash story that we got of Spider-Man. So that was a definite improvement. And the art's decent in this. It's a more grounded personal story with connections to Spider-Man and Peter Parker, which I think adds to what makes Spider-Man books good when we utilize that cast of characters. I also found it great seeing She-Hulk and Luke Cage helping out Spider-Man because using his Peter Parker persona. Really, really nice. I think it would have been, though, better if we had Danny Rand, but if you haven't been keeping up on Iron Fist, there may be a reason why Danny Rand isn't here. But I hope they do right by Danny Rand. Only time will tell. Otherwise, finally was a good Spider-Man story here. Now you might be wondering, why did it get a 7.3? Well, here's the thing. Actually, if that was the only story, I would have given this book a 7.6. But then the side story came in there, and where they keep trying to make MJ's boyfriend relationship matter to us. They keep trying to make this person somebody that we'd be interested in. And I'm not. I don't think any longtime Spider-Man fan gives a crap about this guy or likes this guy. And they're going more on the story behind him, showing us more. And I think, if anything, it took away from the book. That's why I reduced it from a 7.6 to a 7.3. I'd like to know what your thoughts are on this Paul character, Paul Rabin. Do you like this character, or do you think he's a waste of comic book space? I personally do not like him at all. I think he's a crap character. I think he was made just to sort of be in spite of the Marvel fans. Because if you look, the previous writer was actually putting Peter Parker and MJ together, and people were enjoying it, and they can't give us that because, they have issues against relationships because Marvel has a lot of wackadoodles in there that doesn't really know how a relationship works. The last book I want to talk about, I thought I'd try, and that's Phases of the Moon Knight #1. I've been enjoying Moon Knight. I don't know why. I guess it's just something different, so I thought I would give this one a try. Where 82 out of 89 liked it with a 3.9 average rating on Leo Comics Geeks, and I gave the book a 7. The writer is Benjamin Percy, and we also have another story in it. Writer Erica Schultz, artist is Rod Reyes, which I probably butchered. Yep. Anyway, the first story was pretty good because it dives in on how the Shrewd and what he was doing why, he became Moon Knight. And I think he had good intentions, but as you see, he's just not all mentally there. And since they had that whole deal, I think it's interesting. If anything, I think I would like to see Moon Knight take in the Shroud and have them work together and build him back up. But who knows? We'll see what happens there. The second story, though, it was okay at best. I think I like the first one better, but we do get a older, previous version of Moon Knight fighting what appears to be Apocalypse. That's what I think that guy was supposed to be, right? He looked like Apocalypse to me. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's why I seen that. And that story was, okay. So if you're a Moon Knight fan, sure, you might like this book. It looks like that's what it's going to continue to be, a mainline story and then a side story probably in each book. I could be wrong, but that's what I'm thinking they're doing here. If you are a Moon Knight fan, yeah, you'll probably want to check this out. If you're not a Moon Knight fan, well, you probably could care less than about this book. But only time will tell. It does have some pretty cool additional covers that you could get for this book as well, that I think are much better than the main one that you see on the store shelves. But there you have it. That's what I read. What are your thoughts? What did you read? I'd like to know. Spread a little joy. By the way, we can have disagreements, and that's okay. Matter of fact, on some of my videos I put up recently, I've had some pretty heavy disagreements. But you know what? The cool thing is the majority of them, people are like, hey, you know what? We disagree on that. So what? Let's move forward. And I think that's awesome, right? Rather than the people that just come out swinging, calling people names and stuff. That's what I want on my channel. I want people to know that we can come in, we can have a discussion, we can disagree, we can share points, but at the end of the day, we're still a group of people that can get along by things that we enjoy, whether it be music, tech, video games, comic books, or whatever. I want this to be like that comic shop you can go into, and we're different people, and that's okay, and we should feel allowed to voice our opinions. We don't have to hate somebody because we disagree with them. We can think they're an idiot all we want, but we don't have to hate them, right? I mean, sometimes I have some great friends that when it comes to certain things, I want to beat my head up against the wall because how silly they seem to be. And they probably feel the same way about me. And that's okay. So I hope you all have a wonderful day. And until next time, keep it frugal.